Look at that. It came out so good.
idcwoodcraft.com.
Hey CNC peeps, Liberty here, and today we're talking about carving in thin wood. Now I know we just talked about it, but hear me out. That was practice to see if this project would work. Now the next issue we run into with this thin wood, plywood specifically, is that fraying, splintering, furry edges that are left behind, and more. So I decided to run a test. Here we've got two of the same wood with two different preparations. Now on the front, there's not a whole lot of difference now that I've finished these out. The fraying was minimal on this one and a little bit more on this one. Now the backs tell the true story. Ignore my writing, I've played around with these for the end goal of these, but you can see this one has lots of splitting and fraying from that final cutout. This one, on the other hand, has a clean, smooth finish, and it didn't rip into the project. This was a lacquer spray paint, and this was sanding sealer. With that, we now have a new tool to get a clean result with this thin wood. Now, why am I carving a bunch of circles, you may ask? Well, if you don't recognize this shape, it's a Pokeball, and I'm a bit of a nerd. These are for a particular event that's coming up, my wedding. And while you're watching this, it's probably happening right now. And instead of the traditional pen and paper guest book, I've carved out individual Pokeballs for everybody to sign so they can all be gathered together into one singular project. Everybody gets to choose us just as we've chosen them. And if you know Pokemon, you know what I mean. So of course, with such an idea, somebody's gotta make them, and I'm too stubborn to order them because I've got the tools. So let's go along the process of working with thin plywood, the best practices to get the best results, save yourself time on sanding, and get this alternative guest book carved out. So I'm definitely gonna be using some random pieces here to get the bulk of them out. I've got them. They all work. I don't care if they're slightly different thicknesses and colors. So now that I have my two samples, a couple of things. I like that I like the cutout of this one better than this one. I don't like this framed. That was one of the tests. Number two is that inner circle for like the button. Did I like that? And I do. I love it. I do want to see if I can throw a small inner circle on this one as well. The other thing we were testing was the finish or / prep work. I did sanding sealer on one and spray paint on the other to see which one held up most during the carve. This is the winner, and that's the sanding sealer. This was just probably 6 coats of lacquer. I don't feel like I love lacquer for a finish. I don't feel like it was the prep work we needed. So everything will be sealed with sanding sealer. And then last thing is, I think I'm gonna do this entire sheet in the small ones. And then we're gonna see how many of the big ones we can get on the bigger sheet. I don't think we'll need the whole bigger sheet for the big ones. We'll just get into it, see how many we can fit, and go from there. Flying by the seat of my pants, always. With that being said, I'm hopping over to these, which I just realized the sheets are actually labeled incorrectly because I labeled them but then carved the opposite, but it's fine. Okay, into the smaller one. Now that we have the shape copied over to our main piece, it's time to place it and then array. Here underneath the offset and layout options, there's the array toolpath or array copy options. I'm gonna go with the square array copy. We're gonna group this real quick so it just stays as one. I'm also gonna move it a little closer to the edges because I do want to kind of maximize. I'm gonna go by gap between And we're gonna go 3/4 of an inch gap in between each one. Because I don't think we need a full inch, and we may even cut that down. 3 rows, 3 columns, copy. They look like they fit good. Honestly, I think that's too much spacing. So we're gonna Control Z, and I'm going to bring it down to 1/2 inch. Again, I'm just trying to get the most out of what we've got. And then up the columns and rows by 1. I don't know if 1/4 inch is going to be too little though. That's tight. That's tight. Maybe if we, hang on, close, group all those, center. I mean, I want to make sure I have it taped down good. Is it worth the risk? I think so. We're actually going to step over to the big Pokeball now, and I want to see how many of those we can run onto this one. If we can get all the big ones out of this sheet, then we'll just buy a few more sheets for all the rest of the small ones. Back to that array toolpath. I'm going to do a 0.3 distance on these ones just because this board is a little thicker, and in case there's any extra splintering, that gives a little bit more room. Disclaimer, never remember which one's columns and which one's rows, so we're just going to bump rows up and see which direction that goes. Yay, I guessed right. Okay, it does not look like we'll get 4 across in the columns just because of the size of these ones, but that's okay. Does look like we can get more rows though. See if we can get 9. Quick note, if you don't undo the array toolpath that you just did and you try and redo it, it's going to array toolpath your array toolpath. We cannot. We can do 8 though. We're gonna group them real quick so we can center and then ungroup. And look at that, that one went together so much faster than the other one, even though there was more adjustments. Those look good. The only thing I want to look at is make sure that by cutting on the inside, cut off that whole outer piece, and it doesn't quite look like it. So because I decided that I wanted this outer frame cut off, what I did with this one to cut off the outer frame was I made a circle, just like repeated the circle that made the shape. And on the big ones I did not do that, so I think I'm unfortunately going to have to run through and do that real quick. But that's simple enough because I believe this is the, we'll just drag it from the center-ish here. Look at it! Now we're going to make this easy on ourselves and array that. Why is it not fitting? A little bit more work on me, but the reason it's not fitting is because the array has now changed because it's not the same size as it was before. So I would have to select another circle to line it up the right way. This little Control C, Control V is quicker. We're going to preview all toolpaths. Yeah, there we go. See, and that definitely cuts off the outer edge. They look like little Pokecoins. I'm so excited. To the machine. Now that I've figured out what works best, I've got a fresh can of Minwax sanding sealer, and I'm gonna apply it thick on our fresh board. Now my theory with why this works better than the lacquer is because the lacquer is a top coat. It's meant to seal that top bit in, any details, things like that that you've got already done. Whereas the sanding sealer, it's thin and it's made to soak into the cracks really well. And yes, to a degree, so is the top coat, but not in the same way that this is. This is going down into the fibers, and with this being a plywood material, it's got a lot of gaps that it's gonna seep down and through. With its ability to soak down through, I think that's what's giving us that good result in that thin detail carving, because the Minwax has reached all the way down to there, keeping those frizzy fibers at bay. There we go. a bit thicker than water, honestly. It's like thick water. So it's soaking down into there. And I do a full coat across, and then I go back through a second time pretty much right away. And then I let that dry and do another coat after that. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to coat both sides. So that way, as the back cuts out as well, it's going to give us as clean of a result as possible. Okay? As you can see, I did go ahead and set the fan up here to encourage the dry time. But this stuff dries really fast. I gave the first coat a good 15 minutes to soak in. This next coat is not only going to be thinner, but it doesn't have to soak in as deep. I'm only going to give it probably about 10 minutes before I flip it and go ahead and start coating the other side. Now we wait. I have made a bit of a mess on my edge huggers here, but it's no big deal. It is going to dry around it and make it a little bit tougher to remove. But I mean, is that really a bad thing if it's more attached? And it'll flake off later with just a little encouragement. I am going to do one more step of kind of protection when it comes to the splintering and the fact that these are such tiny pieces. And I'm going to layer the entire bottom with this tape. So the idea here is that I've got the entirety of the bottom covered. So as the bit goes deep enough to hit the tape, as these edges are being carved through, they don't have that space to fray or to break off in a funky way. The tape is holding all of those fibers together as it carves around. Bonus of all the tape on the back is, works right with today's hold down method, the CA glue and tape method. I can't say I'm not nervous about doing it on a larger scale, but as we carve into this, you're definitely gonna see what I mean by this sanding sealer seals in those fibers for the carve. Let's see how it works on a larger scale. Pretty much exactly as I expected. We've got some nearly perfect circles, and like you can literally, we've got a bit of fraying, but you can tell just like had this much protection not been on here, all of this would have been splitting up and down everywhere where it just slightly frayed would have just been tearing back into the rest of the project. I'm going to take a piece of 220 over the top before we do any more carving. And I think honestly that'll be all it really needs. Just look at these circles. Like I've gotten them cleared out here, and the 1/16 has done an amazing job giving that clean edge. And even though it's not a bottom cutter, we're getting a pretty clean bottom cut here. I'm excited to see how the rest of the details come out on this project. First of all, I love how these turned out perfect. Second of all, if you look closely here, there's a line down the middle here. That is exactly what I mean by these down cutters are not bottom cutters. Now for this case, it's very faint. It's very easy to hide, get rid of, whatever. We don't have to worry about it too much, but in other cases, when you're trying to get a clean bottom pocket, that's not going to give you the result that you want. Otherwise, again, you can see here we've got itsy bits of fraying, but they stayed right within the line. There's no pulling like there can be with plywood. I'm going to run this 220 grit over top of it again, just like I did with the centers. You can see some variance in the depth. That's just that there's a bit of warping in this board. Right over here, you can see not only more of that line from the bottom cutter, the warping was worse in this corner than the rest of the areas, and so it got an awkward cut. I did mismeasure, but that's okay. We're still gonna use these, just not for what the intention of the rest of the Pokeballs will be for. I am very pleased with the results so far. This just goes to show what sanding sealer does for your project and how a precise bit really affects the carve. Look at that. Oh my God, that was amazing. Now this back came out very clean. It was completely detached down to the tape, and then we've got just a minor curl here that actually is more tape than it even is wood. I was looking at it and it's like yellow, and I keep just pulling off pieces of tape. So again, I'm just gonna hit it with this 220. Just as quick as that, it's done. The sanding sealer definitely did its job here. Exactly what I needed. I will go ahead and throw a clear coat of lacquer over these, as its purpose is to give that close off and sheen. Not necessarily keeping all the splinters from coming in. If this video was entertaining at all, be sure to hit that like button. If you learned anything about CNC, precise carving, laser detail, or thin wood, be sure to comment down below any tips or tricks you have for our next project, and subscribe to see what we turn these into in their final project. I'll give you a hint, epoxy's involved. If you're ready to keep learning more about CNC, check out this video here, and I'll see you next time on IDC Woodcraft. Learn more now. Go to woodcraftresources.com.